You know, when someone is charged with a crime, there's so many thoughts that go through their heads. What's going to happen to me? Am I going to go to jail or prison? What's my family going to do if I'm separated from them? Will I lose my job? Will I have a permanent record? And you know, these questions are something that is just so commonplace, and I hear them all of the time. You know, many people think that when you're charged with a crime, you have no choice but to go to trial and have a jury determine whether you're guilty or not guilty. But that's not actually the case. The truth of the matter is that more than 99% of all criminal cases are resolved by what's called a plea bargain. And simply put, a plea bargain is just a negotiated settlement between the defendant and the prosecution to resolve a case. Now, typically, when you're in a state courtroom, I practice in Florida, for instance, and the law in Florida is that if the prosecution and the defense agree on a plea and they present it to a judge, all a judge can do is either accept the plea or reject the plea. The judge cannot modify it. So for instance, let's say an individual is charged with grand theft. They're a first offender, it's a nonviolent crime, and an agreement is made between the prosecutor and the defense attorney that you're going to serve a term of probation, which basically means no jail and just being supervised by a judge for a period of time, perhaps as little as 6 months, perhaps as much as 10 years. There may be conditions to the probation, like repayment of money in a grand theft case or some community service hours. But when you go in front of a judge and you accept a plea offer and enter a plea of guilty to the charge, or no contest in many cases, the judge will sentence you in accordance with your plea agreement, and you'll know exactly what's going to happen to you. Now, the benefit of that is that you have certainty. You and your family can have all of those important questions answered before you go to court, so that when the day comes when you're actually going to accept the plea negotiation and be sentenced by the judge, you can rest assured that everything is going to come out exactly as your criminal defense lawyer tells you. Now, the rules are different in federal court, and in some state courts around the country, you'll find that the rules differ there, and you're going to have to speak to your attorney about the differences from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, state to state. But for the most part, resolving your case by plea bargain may very well be the best option for both you and your family.